Sweet. We are rolling, sir. Thank you for coming in to do this.
You're welcome, man.
So let's just jump in. What's your full name?
My name is Daniel William Vonethoff.
Are you named after anybody?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And where are you
I'll
from?
have to ask. I'm from Holland.
Sweet.
Yeah.
You're born there?
I was born in Gibraltar.
Okay.
Gibraltar is like a, it's a little English state in the south of Spain.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when did you guys move to Holland?
So I moved to Holland when I was like 4.
Okay.
And then we stayed in Holland for a year. And then my mother moved to Curacao for 3 years. And then we moved to England for a year. And then we established in Holland for a longer period when I was like 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So
Yeah.
quite a bit of traveling growing up.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Did you enjoy that?
That was very inspiring, for sure. I mean, it's interesting kind of constantly changing like the friend circle you're in and stuff. But I enjoyed it. I liked it.
What was your childhood like as far as like things you were into? Sports, music?
Ooh, good question. Sports, yeah. Music came probably the real interest for music came like early teens.
Okay.
So like 12, 13. So my early childhood, I mean, yeah, I was into sports like football or soccer, as the Americans call it. What else? I can't remember what I was into as a kid.
What about school subject wise? Were there things you liked, or is it like a math and history kind of science? What was your world growing up in school?
In school, like I liked geography.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that kind of makes sense based on like the traveling and
Exactly.
what kind of work did your mom do?
She was a banker.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that was like basically what drove the like traveling to different countries when you were growing up?
I guess so, yeah. Yeah, that was a part of it. Yeah. Yeah.
What kind of music did you like listen to when or did she listen to when you were little?
I remember there was like a Jimmy Buffett tape they would play.
Okay.
Do you know Jimmy Buffett?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not very well, but I know the name for sure.
You're not like a big fan.
No, I'm not a big Jimmy Buffett fan.
There was this song called "All." Oh shit! I'm ratting on my parents' terrible music taste now. They have better music taste, but there happened to be like a Jimmy Buffett tape that they played in the car now and then, and I would get like really aggressive, like if people talked through a certain song called "It All Falls Down."
Okay.
So that was apparently a favorite tune of mine.
And you just get mad if people were talking?
Yeah, I would get really mad, apparently. And yeah, like as a child, music-wise, I mean, I kind of grew up in the 90s, so just anything that was on the radio, like I liked all the crappy 90s Euro dance shit as
Sure.
a kid. And I was into like the Backstreet Boys.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was into all that shit. I mean, I don't feel like it's almost impossible to have not been, you know what I mean, at that point. Kinda
Exactly.
growing up and just what we all kind of got like just pressed in our faces. You
Yeah,
know?
we had no choice.
Yeah, we definitely had
In the
no
matter.
choice. So you moved to Holland, or your family moved to Holland when you were like 10, 12?
Yeah.
And
10.
what was it like settling in there?
It was cool. I had to get used to speaking Dutch also.
Right.
And just kind of the culture. But I eased into it, and around 12, things got really nice.
Sweet.
Yeah. But, moving around, I was already quite adaptable, so it happened quite easily. And, yeah. So then one of my friends from school played, like, classical guitar. Like flamenco kind of shit.
Cool.
Because he had like a Peruvian dad or something. And I just kind of tagged along with him once to like a lesson. And yeah, I kind of took some lessons from the same teacher, and that teacher really liked me because I cried when he played one of his own songs. So then he was like
You
my
were a
biggest
shoo-in.
fan. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was good. And then yeah, kind of moved on to bass and started playing in like a band and stuff.
Cool. Even in like teens.
Yeah, I joined my band that I'm still technically in, the Rhythm Chiefs, when I was 13.
No
Yeah.
way.
Yeah, we were like a blues band.
Cool.
Yeah, we played like blues.
Yeah. What was the makeup of the band? How many people?
3.
Okay.
Yeah. So me and 2 of my best friends, and they're still my best friends.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Guitar and drums?
Yeah, guitar and drums.
Cool.
Yeah.
Who was singing?
We all try to like avoid singing, but whenever someone had to sing, it was the guitar player,
Okay.
and he wasn't into it.
Okay.
So yeah, we would just try and make playing instrumentally as interesting as possible.
Cool. Well, that kind of gives me a little insight into your production style then.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely stems from like playing in a band for years.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, man. So at that point, you're like in high school. Is it still kind of playing football, starting to like play guitar, starting to play bass, starting to play in a band? What else is kind of happening in your life as like a teenager living in Holland?
I guess girls were quite interesting.
Okay.
At the time, obsession. And production started to become quite an early thing as well. That was pretty cool. Like, I think my dad found like EJ. Have you ever heard of EJ or Magic's Music Maker?
No, I don't think so.
They're like kind of really simplified versions of like a DAW, but for kids.
Okay.
They're like toys.
No way.
Yeah, that was really cool. So I started playing around with that when I was 14 or something. And,
Okay.
I was really into trance music then, like womp, womp, womp.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I tried making that, and then it kind of naturally progressed into. Then I switched to Acid. Have you ever heard of Acid, the program?
Yeah.
Acid Pro. Something?
Yeah. 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 Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I made my first beats in Acid, and then switched to Ableton.
Crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
And this was like 14, 15, 16 years old.
Yeah. So when I was 16, I first heard Jay Dilla, and that was like the moment that I really thought, okay, this is cool. I want to do this for the rest of my life. Because up until then, I was just playing around with like production and stuff. But yeah.
That's great. That's a pretty big transitional, like pivotal moment.
Yeah.
How'd you come across Dilla?
So by the time I was like 14, my grades started getting a bit worse. And then I went to like a music high school kind of thing.
Okay.
And that didn't work out either. Me and the guitar player from my band got kicked out of that school because we did like prank calls. And apparently we really traumatized like one of our teachers.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So we got kicked out. But they gave us like a 6-month thing, like because we got kicked out on the half of the semester,
Okay.
in the middle of the semester, and they said, you're going to be sent to this shitty school now, and if your grades like get better, you have a chance to get back to the school. But our grades didn't get better. So then I think my dad, because he was always like pretty, active with researching stuff for the music thing. Like he would also like book gigs for our band and stuff.
Cool.
We would do like promotion. Yeah, he was really getting into that.
Dude, that's awesome.
That was fun. But he found like it was like a kind of summer school program with like all these kind of international music things. And yeah, so I was like 16 and joined in, and I met this Portuguese guy called DJ Ride, and he just gave me like a hard drive with like Sarah. Do you remember Sarah?
Oh, yeah, of course. I
Trading
know those
Partners?
guys. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I mean, they are heroes to me.
Yeah. Omos
I
and
didn't know-
Shafiq and Taz. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah, that and Dilla and Madlib and yeah, just all the kind of left field weird hip hop shit that was going on at the
Yeah, that's a
time.
cool collection.
Yeah, man. So I kind of yeah, that really changed my life for real.
That's amazing, man. And then, I mean, at that point in time, like, so you didn't end up going back to your original high school. Did you finish out high school in the other school that you transferred to, or was it just like kind of fading? School was just fading out.
Yeah, school was kind of fading out at that time. So so then we kind of went to like so in Holland you have like kind of higher education and like middle education. So like it's not college, but it's like kind of trade school, I guess, something like that.
Okay.
But they had like trade school um, programs for music, and that was cool because that was that was a school that just started. So when I was like 17, and I did this all together with the guitar player from my band, Dusty. We kind of went through the whole trajectory together. So we were like always kind of going through schools and stuff. But yeah, so we went to that trade school kind of thing, but then for music, that was like a new concept, and it was really chaotic. So there weren't a lot of rules. So we were there for like 2 years, and we could just do anything we wanted. It was like a rehearsal space where they actually kind of established the school. So they would have like kind of football tables and like there's
Pinball and all that kind
pinball
of stuff. Yeah.
things because it used to be like a bar and like a rehearsal space, but it was like our school.
Cool.
And we were really young, and there were kind of people in their 20s there. So we came from like a small town, and it was like in Rotterdam, like the biggest city in our area. So yeah, for us it was like very eye opening, just meeting all these new people and focusing on production and having way more freedom in our schedules and stuff. That was really cool. And then Dusty, the guitar player from my band, kind of progressed on naturally to like the higher music education thing,
Cool.
like a conservatory.
Mm-hmm.
And I did audition, and I was like accepted, but I went one day, and then I decided I didn't really want to do that. So then I just kind of did my own thing from there on. I was like 18.
So did you just feel like it seemed like you pretty much just never agreed with school? Seemed like that was just not. Was it not a good format for you? Was it like just a difficult place to be?
Uh, I, I guess so. Like, I mean, I quite enjoyed it, to be honest, but it just always, there was always something that kind of made it just end. If you know what I mean. I did actually really enjoy that kind of trade school thing I was talking about. That was really kind of
Sounds like it's more like a non-traditional format too, though.
that
Like
was
it's
a very
not quite like a be here at 7 a.m., sit in class, go to your next class at 8 a.m. and
exactly. There was a lot
You know,
of freedom to it, and
yeah.
and the musicians and teaching at that school were like amazing as well. And,
Cool.
And they really helped me. So like I did get a lot of education from them. So that was yeah, I was really happy with that. But from there on, I thought like I could probably just find things out by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. So at that point, like 18, you have a friend, like your close friends going off to school, and you're like finding your path. What's your thought process? Like, are you working regular jobs, or is this just like music is still paying to some degree?
Yeah, at that time we were gigging quite regularly.
Okay.
That was kind of paying. I mean, I was not living. I didn't have a lot of costs. I was still living with my parents and stuff. So it was primarily gigging, and then during the day just focusing on writing and that kind of thing, producing. I was working with a lot of different people in Holland as well. Like I had my own kind of band called Furlan Williams. There's actually still a track of us online on YouTube. You should check it out. It's quite funny. It's me and like a singer from Rotterdam,
Cool.
and that was actually building up quite well. But eventually we kind of split paths. But yeah, it was. up until just from my 18th on, it was just like gigging most of the time and just, hanging out,
Yeah. Nice.
producing.
So, I mean, it sounds like even from like a younger teenager, the decision was still like music.
Yeah, I guess
Just
so.
just caught that. It was like I mean, was that even something you noticed from like when you started taking those lessons? It was just like, oh, this feels right, or is it really more like when you started to hear like a Dilla Mad Lib kind of thing? It was just like, holy shit, this is inspiring. I
Yeah.
want to do what these guys did and make a life out of that.
Yeah, that was really the moment.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It's
That
amazing to be like that inspired to make a career choice off music that's like that powerful.
Yeah, and that's why, like, just Dilla in general is such a kind of special musician for me. He really kind of made that difference. Up until then, it was like just hobby stuff, and I enjoyed it. But just listening to his music, it just the idea of being able to create something like that just made me like, really interested.
Yeah.
Like that is kind of what I want to do. Yeah.
So how do you approach that from like a career standpoint? Was it just like, oh, I'm gonna create my own music, my own art at home for now, and like, is it I'm gonna post it online and try to sell it, or what was like, what's your initial kind of move towards like building in as a producer like a business?
Yeah, good question. I mean, that has actually been quite a new thing for me. Like from 18 on, I have been very focused on the, I think, being an artist. Like, at first, I kind of wanted to get stuff out just as like a producer, artist, just have like instrumental, like, or I was even thinking of just working with like the vocalist that I knew in Holland. But I've always been like focused on like the album format. But yeah, it has been like quite hard for me to eventually like materialize that. So it's been a lot of creating, but also like a lot of kind of you know uh, just kind of going back to just like giving up on ideas and stuff. Like it has,
Yeah, it's experimenting.
it, it
I
is
feel like
experimenting for sure. Yeah, but as you know, like it took me a minute to get some stuff out there.
yeah,
And get that kind of momentum rolling, and that is definitely what I needed. To also because for like quite a long time I wouldn't play my stuff to like anyone. It was just kind of only me knowing that I'm making music,
yeah.
which was weird. But yeah, so it's quite new for me to kind of release music.
Yeah. What's when you were like kind of from I guess 18 moving forward, how many hours a day are you like applying to making music? And is that like a mixture of practicing instruments because you're playing what guitar and bass at this time? Are you picking up other instruments? And is it like you make a practice routine every day? Like I guess what's like the day schedule look like for you at that point in time?
At that point in time, it was pretty random.
Okay.
I was like practicing on a, I guess, sort of daily basis, guitar primarily. Um, and I started practicing piano and stuff as well, and kind of a bit of drums. Yeah, so practice was like a big part of, study, like learning new songs and learning like sounds of people that you really respect. Yeah, so it was like studying and producing, I guess, about 5 or 6 hours a day,
Okay.
something like that.
Nice. And what
Yeah.
would you what would you like fill the rest of your time in your day with? Just going out and being out in town?
Yeah, I have been quite lazy and have drank quite a lot in my 20s and stuff. But gigging was a very big part of my life as well. So we would with the band I mentioned, we started being like the touring band for an artist called Ian Siegel. He's like a blues artist, and he would play around Europe, and he would have like 3 or 4 week tours just around Europe, and yeah, we would do that like every season, I guess, like 4 or 5 times a year,
Cool.
and that would be like the way that I earned money for about, I don't know, 4 years, maybe four or
Nice.
5 years, maybe even 6 years.
Do you enjoy that traveling and that like kind of style of life?
I did for a while, but I did find out at quite early on, that it just wasn't really my music. It wasn't really my crowd,
Yeah.
and that I'd rather just sit in a studio and create.
Yeah.
So yeah, and after a while, that didn't become like very fulfilling, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I kept doing it because it kind of earned me money.
Sure.
So that like in the meantime I could just focus on creating. So
And what did you start like how did you start with building a recording setup? Do you remember what your kind of early first pieces were and how things progressed with your home studio?
yeah, that has been quite a interesting journey. I think I started buying synths pretty early on.
Okay.
So when I was like 16 or 17, I bought an MS-20 because one of my teachers from the trade school was like a big fan of the MS-20.
Sure.
And
Good synth.
it's a great synth.
Yeah.
Especially the external signal processing. That is amazing. You can just put drums through that filter, and that was a big part of my sound for a while.
Interesting. Cool.
So that was actually like kind of my analog. I just had my computer and like just the 2-channel Firewire, like M audio kind of audio interface.
Yeah.
Everything would go in. I would already use amps
Okay.
for the guitars and stuff. So I think my first mic was like a SM57.
Sweet.
And then, yeah, you just kind of naturally progress, I got a Moog, and then, let me think. Yeah, you get a better interface, obviously.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's been quite a fun, like, natural... You start buying preamps.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you have anybody that was helping you like mentorship wise in that journey, or how are you finding what stuff you wanted to buy and like what stuff you wanted to upgrade?
Gear slots.
Okay.
Which is not called Gear slots anymore, right? I think they changed
Oh,
the
is
title.
it? I didn't know. Haven't been on there for a while, but
Yeah.
that's funny.
I used to be on there all the time.
Yeah.
But, no, a lot of the teachers that I had would help with that kind of thing. And I did like an internship in a studio called Flowrider Studio, I think. But that was only just like 2 weeks, but it was fun. And I did actually learn a lot from that guy in the 2 weeks that I did it.
Cool.
Yeah. So then you buy a couple preamps. I still have quite like a basic studio setup, but just the more time you spend, like you kind of master your
Your setup.
your setup. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It took me a minute to get like a good drum sound too. That was like a journey.
Yeah, I
Sure.
feel like that's always a big challenge.
Yeah, man.
And is that a setup that you have that's just like literally at home, or did you eventually move that to any kind of like external location?
So now I kind of the town where I live, like I live in the center of town, and my mother lives like outside of town,
Okay.
and she's got quite a big garden, and there's like a shed in that garden. So that's my studio in Holland.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And yeah, I've got everything set up. Just the mics are there. You can just play drums like directly, and you've got the sound. I've got the
Yeah.
plugins all kind of lined up. So that's nice.
Sweet.
Yeah. And the setup I have is quite... I think I stole it from Mac DeMarco. I saw him like just point like a vocal mic at the kettle of the snare. So it's like it kind of picks up the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat like equidistance
Yeah.
or something.
Mhm.
So that is like the main sound, and then you just kind of, you've got the kick for that, and you can layer the kick, obviously,
Sure.
with samples, and a bit of a room mic, and maybe like an extra hi-hat mic to just get that kind of extra high, and maybe like sometimes a tom. But yeah, just that one mic is like the body of everything, and yeah, just the more you kind of play around with it. I mean, just kind of muting the drums has been a big thing as well, so that you don't get the extra
Yeah.
resonances. But yeah, it took me like a couple of years, and then you see Kenny Beats showing his kind of like on his live streams, like his kind of setup, and yeah, mine actually is quite similar to his kind of,
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty fantastic to see like the modern like just tours that all these producers, like the live stream and tours that all these guys show.
Yeah, man.
And you get like this just insight that was like invaluable. Like I could not imagine seeing what that would have been like 20, 15 years ago and being like, holy shit, man. Like,
Yeah.
I can't believe we're in this guy's studio and he's literally showing us every single thing he has
all
set
his
up this way.
secrets.
Yeah.
I know, man. It's a trip, and I think because they've been doing this for like a year now, since the pandemic, maybe 2 years. Kenny's been streaming and Monte and shit, and just way more.
Yeah.
But it has been like a thing that kind of came up in the pandemic, I think. And yeah, I think like all the young kids kind of being able to see all those secrets, they're going to be even more crazy in like 5 years' time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty amazing, man. So you basically put together like the studio. You started making tracks for 4, 5, 6 hours a day, working on instrumentals, working on song ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. That's maybe 6-ish years for you of creating from when that started to really pick up and up until now in terms of like building all the body of work that you have. And like, what was that initial next step towards like, I want to get my instrumentals online and selling or figure out how to showcase my work? Like, what was your approach to getting things rolling in that direction?
I think it was like just also the choice to try and make some money with this skill that I have. So I was thinking that, okay, I've got this artistic thing that I'm working on, but I'm still kind of figuring out, my sound. And also, I guess like just like fear, just being insecure about the stuff that I was making, and not really knowing what direction that was going to go in the future. I thought, okay, well, I also really like making beats. Let me just try and do this kind of this beat star shit, because you see some people having like steady money from that kind of thing. So I thought, this is probably worth doing. But it started like as a financial thing, actually. But just the structure that it gave to my life, it changed a lot of things. And through that, I met you, stuff started happening. And now I'm in LA. And it's funny how like life goes. Now I'm playing my music that I was struggling with to people, and they're like giving me the confidence to finish that stuff. So yeah, it's been a trip.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's a pretty interesting journey. I mean, one of the things I feel like I immediately picked up with you is like this sense of like just being a genuine artist. Like it's not really about a success or a goal financially. It's just kind of like out of necessity, I need money. But like the goal is to create art, and I feel like you can hear that in even like all the raw ideas that you have. Because I feel like I share that same passion for just the art aspect of creating. Not
100%.
like,
Yeah, man.
oh, I want to just make this because I could be famous one day and I can make money. But it's like actually like, no, I want to make something unique and beautiful and like something that speaks to me in a way and hopefully speaks to other people. And I feel like from sorting through the ideas that you've given me to even just listen to or been playing for other people that I've been hearing, it's like so many really cool ideas that are just really unique pieces of music, you know, and like
Thank you, man.
so many different genres too. Like that's in so many different genres all blended in, you know, like it makes sense obviously that you're doing like a blues band because that's a big part of, I feel like, the core of a lot of the sound. And
You think so?
yeah, I actually do.
That's funny.
And like, you know, like the soul funk side of things too is I'm sure probably big from like the Dilla Madlib influence
100%.
in a way.
Yeah.
And was the band that you were playing in, were you playing in like a punk band? Was that something that you mentioned at one point in time? Or was there like a punk sound or a punk era that you were kind of creating a little bit more aggressive?
With our band, we did slowly kind of go into like a more kind of 60s like garage kind of sound.
Okay.
Because that does kind of mix like that kind of old R&B sound, but then just played way more aggressively.
Sure.
But punk, I'd love to play in a punk band, but
Not quite
no.
like a main thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting. Just because some of the production has to me like that kind of style.
that is great. I mean, my mother's like an old punk, so she's always trying to kind of push that. But yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I do try a lot of different stuff, and some stuff is like really smooth and like R&B, and then you know the other stuff is like very gritty and punky. I guess.
So let's go back on like what was the decision and the process of putting together, I'm in Holland and I want to go to LA, and how are you thinking about like what is the goal for that trip and
Well, that's
how to go?
That's our connection. Like,
Yeah.
I think that was a big reason also to go, because yeah, we've been talking about working together, and yeah, that was for me like one of the main staples to be able to work with you and Nick, and yeah, to work in the studio. And you know, I met some people through the YouTube thing, like Danny Watts. He introduced me to Monte Booker and stuff, so I was already talking to Monte at that time. So there were like enough kind of like life-changing things happening before I went, but you know, they all happened to be like in LA. So yeah, I thought I'd just buy a ticket and see what happens.
And how to go?
It's been the best.
It's been basically 6 weeks.
Yeah, 6 weeks.
Started as a 4-week trip and got a little extension.
Yeah, I mean, if I could, I'd extend it for 3 months, and I could actually, but I've got some shit to do back in Holland. But I'll be back. You know, I'm gonna,
Yeah.
live here and hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
This is just gonna be my life
Yeah.
pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a lot of fun, man.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I know our trip was a little bit wild towards the end on my behalf, but it's
that was pretty wild.
it's it's still exciting. I mean, I'm bummed I missed that day, but it's been pretty awesome that you got to link with Reggie and
Yeah, that was
start creating with those guys. And
that would have been amazing if it was such a trip that when you didn't pick up though. Oh my god. Yeah, but yeah, that was really cool, and yeah, it's just been blessings on blessings, you know.
Yeah, it's exciting, man. I don't know. I guess I feel like we've probably covered a pretty good path of like life up until now. Is there anything else that you feel like we could chuck in?
It's weird, like you just asking the questions and me just answering. Like, it feels like kind of rude. Like I want to ask you questions.
I mean, the goal for me is like to try to like for this specific format is to try to make it like you telling your life story from like an autobiographical standpoint. So
Yeah, I
less
feel
of
that.
like a back and forward. And I try to make sure I don't like chime in too much. So nothing rude about it. That's really the format. I just am trying to figure out, like the flow of walking through somebody's life and talking about, you know, where they lived, what they grew up doing, you know, work, history, travel, all that kind of
It's
stuff.
actually funny, like if you really kind of zoom in on into that, it gives me perspective about my own life as well. So yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't really feel like we get a chance to reflect on this stuff all that often because we're always looking
100%.
forward and we're always moving fast
Yeah.
in the forward direction, you know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, man.
So you're headed back to Holland tomorrow?
Tomorrow, yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got to do this, man.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, we've been talking about it for a minute.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll get another update, I'm sure, soon. I'm excited for you to come back.
Yeah, we're gonna do some stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. I mean, we got the album that's basically finished. It's just got to get some cover artwork and stuff like that, and
Get it out there.
yeah,
ASAP.
yeah, it's exciting. Cool. Well,
Yeah,
I'm gonna shut it down. Thank you again for coming to do this, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah, that was a successful podcast. Right?
That was great.